we're going to be working on a few more fingerstyle pieces, and so I thought it would be good to have a very brief lesson where we just talk about fingernails with our right hand or our picking hand. Again, if you were left-handed, it would be the other hand. Now, different players do this in different ways. There is not a right or wrong way. Let's talk about with our fretting hand, there is a right or wrong way, and unfortunately, the wrong way is to have any sort of nail at all on your left hand. I don't know what the little white part of the nail is on top. I need to study that up. I'm sure there's a term for it. You can probably tell me. But I usually just clip that part off and try to keep my nails as short as I can on my left hand, my fretting hand, that's comfortable. I'm sure you've all done the thing where you cut them a little too short, and then I can remember as a child reaching in to like eat some salted popcorn and thinking, ow, you know, because it gets really sensitive through there. So cut them as short, keep them as short as you can comfortably. Mine are actually a little too long right now. Well, the light's a little bright, but there's a little bit of white, so they're a little too long, but they're okay. They're not too bad. Your right hand is what we really want to talk about. Some players simply do the same thing on their right hand or their picking hand as they do with their left hand, and they just play with the flesh of their fingertips, and that's a great way to play. It's going to have kind of a more mellow, kind of dull sound. I knew a really great guitar player many years ago who loved that sound. He played primarily a little bit of classical, but more in a kind of blues, kind of fingerstyle way, and he liked that more mellow sound. And he also didn't like having to keep track of his nails. So fantastic. If you like playing that way, excellent. Other guitar players, particularly classical players, maybe some jazz players who specialize in kind of fingerstyle technique, they may actually grow their nails pretty long and paint them, make them strong. They may even get fake nails put on, and then they will actually play with the nails. You will get a much crisper sound if you do that, a much more trebly crisp sound than that kind of more moody, darker sound if you just play with the flesh of your fingers. And that's a great way to do it. I'm not going to do that. And I have a feeling most of you are probably also not going to do that. So let me tell you what I do. And this may be something you might want to try. This is something that I learned from a classical guitar player when I was a student. And what he told me was he just simply grew his nails out to the tip of his finger and used an emery board to round them out. Now this nail's a little bit too long right now, and again, it's kind of having a hard time seeing. I was doing some gardening earlier, so I hope I don't have any dirt underneath that nail. Maybe a little bit. But it is just rounded out to match the end of my finger. It's maybe just the tiniest bit long right now because it's peeking over the top of my finger. So I'll probably take an emery board later today and just round it out. And each one I'm just going to round out. They're a little long. I'm going to take them down to just the very end of the finger, and including the thumb as well. And what does that do? Am I going to play with the nail? No, I'm going to play with my fingers. However, now when I strike with my finger, I'm going to get flesh and a little bit of that nail as well. I'll show you the difference. So here's me with my right hand plucking. Now my left hand, which has no nail, you can hear a pretty dramatic difference. Again, I'm not going to say either one is better or worse. It's kind of your preference, but I have had a lot of success with using this method. So I'd encourage you to try it if you want to be able to play with a little more crispness without having to try quite as hard with your right hand. But again, not necessarily a right or wrong way to do it. So good luck figuring out how you want to manage your nails. And if you're a nail biter, well, good luck.